Hi, I'm Lee. Hopefully all of the places that you can find me online are just whizzing across the bottom of the screen right now. I've been watching knitting podcasts for a little while, and this afternoon I decided on a Women of Fancy that I would have a go myself and just say hello and join in. And having decided to do that on a Women of Fancy, I'm suddenly overcome with nerves. But that's what everybody says in their first episode. So I'm just going to soldier on and get into it. I'm not going to run through all of the things that I'm doing at the moment. I just wanted to show you 3 of the things that I'm really enjoying this week. I just said that about 3 times. I've got to stop doing that. God. I'm also really worried that I'm just going to go no one will have a clue about anything that I've said. So anyway, speak slowly and relax. Here we go. The first thing that I've been really enjoying at the moment is a little spindle that I got maybe about a week ago. There we go, I've said it again. Gosh, I've got to stop doing that. I got this spindle about a week ago. I'm so excited. Let me hop out the way so you can see it properly. Oh, can you see it properly? See, I can't even aim. No, here, look at this. Is it going to focus? Yes, there we go. The workmanship on this is just lovely. This is a new to me spindle maker. Oh, look, come on. You see, this is my first go at this and I'm just rubbish already. Never mind. But anyway. So I found that on Etsy, and it's made by a UK spindle maker. Focus. No, is it going to do it? I'll just read it out. It's made by a UK spindle maker called Enid Ashcroft, and I think she's quite popular. I've probably just been like a mushroom in the dark and didn't know about this lady. But anyway, so I found this on Etsy, and after I got my spinning wheel, I'd been kind of spinning for about 10 minutes a day, maybe more, maybe less sometimes. And then last year I did the spackle sweater, and I spun all of the fibre for that during the Tour de France, on the Tour de Fleece, you know. And I've barely touched my spinning wheel since then, and so this has been really exciting because suddenly I'm really excited about spinning again, so that's been a nice thing. And the fibre is nice as well. I like the colour of the fibre. It's just merino, and it came from, let's see if I can get this right this time, it came from All the Pretty Fibres. Oh no, yeah, you want to focus on that. Is it going to do it? Did it do it? Yeah, there we go. So that came from All the Pretty Fibres, and I'm not doing anything special with the colours. It's because they're kind of a similar tone, and so I've just been really enjoying it. I've already finished mine. Isn't it? Maybe if I hop out the picture. I'm not doing very well there. There we go. Can you see? It's got all these really beautiful turquoises and things. And, set up again. I've got to stop doing that. So, this is not going too well. Anyway, that's what I'm doing, and I'm really enjoying that little spindle. And the other thing I discovered as well, while I was poking about on Etsy, are these things here. And I was looking for a case because one of my spindles recently got stood on. It wasn't the stander's fault, it was mine. I left it on the floor, so more for me. And I was looking on Etsy to see what other people were doing for spindle cases, and I found these things that came in a multitude of beautiful colours, except of course the seller was selling them from the States, so the postage was, I think it was actually more than the item, And of course then you get stung with that £8 custom charge, which is really nasty. And I thought to myself, oh, that's not manufactured for spindling, we must have them here. It's a paintballing pod, and apparently, I don't know, some of you probably do paintballing and know all about this. You keep all your paintball pods in here. This is the 150 version, and I had a really interesting email conversation with the eBay seller about the internal diameter. I don't think he really knew what a drop spindle was, but anyway. If you want to know, the internal diameter across here is just over 6 centimetres. I think it's about 28 centimetres long. So you can fit a bit of fibre in there, and you can fit a spindle with a 2-inch diameter, I guess that's about 5 centimetre diameter in there easily, and it's nice and rigid. So yeah, if you're looking for a good case for your spindles, in case one of your family decides to stand on something, then that might be it. Let me put everything back in here. I also realised that I've got my microphone tucked in here, and I'm just jamming things on top of it, so you guys could have a really horrendous noise. Okay, so that's the first thing that I'm enjoying this week. That's the other thing I've done. See, this is all a new players thing. Everything I've put way over here, out of reach, so I'm just going to duck it here. And I'm trying not to put everything on the microphone as well. If I do another one of these, it might be better. I'm not going to make any promises. It could well be worse. So, this is what I'm knitting at the moment. You might recognise this as the Hero sweater. And I've been really enjoying it. I'm making it out of wool mice. So I've had to do, the pattern calls for an Aran weight yarn, and this is a DK weight yarn. So I've had to do a lot of alterations, and I've basically just customised it for myself. What was I going to say next? Oh God. Yes, I've had to customise it for myself, and I've put all the details about the customisations that I've made without giving away anything from the pattern on my blog. So if you're interested in that, you can go and have a look. Actually, you can go and tell me if it makes any sense whatsoever, so that'd be cool. But it went astray a bit. I got to the neckline, which is the end, and I bound it off, and thought, hooray, I finished my jersey. And then I realised that I'd gone wrong a bit with my measurements, because when I worked out how deep the yoke needed to be, I was looking for my armhole measurement, and so I measured myself from here down to a comfortable place under my armpit, and I took that as the number of rows that I needed. But of course yokes don't work like that. Your stitches kind of come up at an angle, so I really needed to measure from about here up to where I wanted the neckline to be. And so when I put it on, the armhole depth is still fine because I like a fairly generous armhole, but the bottom of the torso has whizzed up. The waist shaping is about 3 centimetres too high now, which is okay. I'm not terribly displeased about that, but it's not quite long enough. And I had only left this little nugget of the Nautilus colourway. So of course I got onto Ravelry and begged. So it's like, oh, I see you've been knitting with this colour of wool mice. You don't happen to have any leftovers. And so a lovely American lady sent this all the way back across the Atlantic. It's not quite the same colour as the original dye lot, but I have a cunning plan for that. Stay tuned and you'll just see whether my cunning plan was a stroke of genius or didn't work at all. But anyway, so at the moment, dangling from the bottom here are my knitting needles, and I'm knitting down on that to try and make it long enough. So hopefully I'll be wearing that one soon. I really like how these colours came out though. Really enjoyed that. Actually that leads me quite nicely into the next thing I want to talk about. I'm not very confident about choosing colours. I don't think I'm rubbish at it. I just think I'm rubbish at it. And so I've always gone on to the Dulux paint website, and they have a little tool so that you can pick out one of their paint colours, and then it tells you what neutrals go with it, and it tells you what colours harmonise with it, what colours contrast with it, and then what colours work out as an accent. And so I use that tool to pick out the colours in the neckline, and I'm really pleased with this gold sort of bronzy colour through the middle. It sits right on my shoulders, so I'm really chuffed about that. But they recently changed that, and they've kind of simplified it, which annoys me because I found it such a good tool. But I've discovered a new one, which I've been looking through. Now it's on the floor. See, I'm going to disappear again. Back. I think this book sort of did all the rounds on everybody's blogs. Go behind, hopefully that'll focus. No. It did the rounds on everybody's blogs. Just peek out. Focus. At the very end of last year. And I got given my copy for Christmas. Well, I bought my copy at the Knitting and Stitching show and then told the hairy man it was my Christmas present. So I was lucky enough to actually get it signed by Felicity Forward. See, I'm so excited. I met Felicity Forward, the colour guru. And recently I've just been working my way through it, and I find it a really accessible strategy for putting colours together, to sort of pick out your inspiration and then pull colours from that. And then, well, even if you didn't get to the bit where you sort of put the pattern in, I think just having a process that you can use for matching, for getting colour information and then picking out colours to go into a project, it's a really good book. It's like she gives you a step-by-step process on how to be Kaffe Fassett, and I've been really enjoying that. And I've been thinking about, I've done it again, I've probably done it dozens of times since I first, right, okay, carry on. And so I've been thinking about, I've been thinking about using this as a guide or sort of like a process to do sort of like a long-term art project, something that I can do over the course of the year. And so the first thing that she has you do is to actually pick out something that you can use for inspiration. And so I've been rummaging around the house and thinking about different things. I found a few things that I've got here. Oh, here I go again. I've put my things far away. So the first thing that I found was this coaster that I really like. This was one that I got for Christmas. And focus. And I really liked the colours in that. Whoops, there we go. I've just knocked the microphone again. Oh God. This requires a lot more production than you think. This was another item that I've always loved the colours in this. I started a job where they provided tea and coffee, which is sometimes rare when you work in the public sector, but they didn't provide a mug, so I had to nip out and get this mug. I've had it for a really long time. It is from that well-known coffee shop that we won't mention, but I've always really enjoyed the colours on this, and so that's what I had thought about maybe using for my Knitsonic year-long art project. And then where's my scope of this? This is actually a knitting needle case. I've got my interchangeable knitting needle case. I really love this case. And I like these colours as well. And so I was tending towards this one. I was thinking, that would be a really cool jumper. But I don't know. And then I was thinking about something a bit more personal than that. And I was kind of thinking about my childhood home on a wee farm in the hill country in New Zealand. And our house, I've got a photograph here, I don't know how well you'll see this. Oh, it's got reflections on it. Look, you can see the window there. Anyway. Is it going to focus? Am I wobbling it too much? Maybe if I hold it back here and zoom in. So this is where I grew up in New Zealand. And our house, you can't see it very well there, was a combination of brown, white, and all of the doors were a light blue, and then the windowsills underneath were a darker blue. It sounds like a really weird combination, but I was kind of thinking it would be nice to do something a little bit personal and maybe bring in these greens as well. And as much as the colours don't really... I'm not excited by the colours. I think I'm excited by sort of like the personal element of that project. So I just got to leave those things out, so I kind of pass them by and then see what really speaks to me as to what I would like to do. Yeah, I was going to do that one as a spinning project and try and spin the yarns for it, but I'm not sure. Yeah, that might be making a rod for my own back. I could always just send off to Jamison and Smiths and get a shade card and do it that way. So clearly there's a few things that I've got to decide before I embark on that little adventure. Let me put this down and stop looking at it. Before I embark on that little adventure, but I'm kind of excited about the process. So really, that's all I have to say. Oh, come on then, come on. You can probably hear this guy anyway. Here we go. This is the other thing I'm really enjoying. Let's have a look. Sorry. Say hello to the knitters. Anyway. So, whoops, hold on, I've popped down. Just realised he said on the microphone. So anyway, that is, now he's tangled. That is my first go at podcasting. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please let me know if you'd like to see another one. If there's deadly silence, then clearly I'm not going to do this again, and hopefully next time it'll be better and there won't be sort of like dogs tripping over things. He's back up here as well, said on my microphone. Can you even hear me? Bye!